And we're back. Thank you for the patience with the ads, guys. I'm trying to space it just right to where keep the pre-rolls minimally down and not be intrusive to gameplay. Striking that balance. I'm gonna do more long drive to chill out. Let me change the soundtrack. I feel more like more trance, house beat kind of stuff. There we go. And load up.
They tell us what to do, they tell us what to think. Can someone stop the madness? Use your eyes and you will see we are right where we wanna be. Nothing
I'm gonna fix that.
They tell us what to do, they tell us what to think. Can someone stop the madness?
I think we're in decent shape. Let's rock and roll. Now we have the muscle car motor, so we're not gonna go too egregiously fast. But yeah, we're close to breaking 700 kilometers. Just getting, well, 1,000 kilometers is the 1/5 mark. Full of my favorite channel, exactly, Debug. Look, I have 2 in the back, 1 in front. Perfect. I think with some work with baskets, I can get them to be pinned on the roof too, but that seems even much for me. Actually, do that and that. There we go. Keep an eye on our speed that way. And our fuel level. Because with this motor, it's also burning through gas a little bit faster. We're still have to be even more cognizant about keeping our fuel levels up. Not a big deal. What kind of house is that? That's like a abandoned house. There's usually not much in there for in terms of like fuel and whatnot. Yeah, love driving game. It's just so chill. Especially in peaceful mode, of course. But again, I want to thank y'all for coming with me on some game demos. I'm really excited for Aloft. I'm looking forward to playing that. I think it's going to be a really fun game. It has a lot of potential. Not to wait, which is whatever. I'd rather wait and be a good game than rushed in a bad game. Sounds like a Miyamoto quote of some sort, if I remember correctly. A delayed game is eventually good, but a bad game is always bad when released. Something like that. I just forget, it's been a while. Beautiful. Oh, thanks for the follow. We're done this. Genocide. Thank you for the sticker. You really want loud. Thank you again, Jenna, for the sticker. 7.2.4. 11 mains, 2 directional subs on the system. Found like compliant content in the system is difficult. That's a very non-standard speaker arrangement, so yeah, it's not surprising. Still really cool though. Impressive. Yeah, 7.1 is very common, 5.1 is very common. Yeah. Very few are like that many speakers to play around with in terms of channeling. And it's like a... So that's a classic case of like chicken and egg with content, or like media creation, I should say. Certain hardware profiles is not worth to make because there's like such a little, like small audience sometimes. And so there's less reason to get the hardware, so there's less need to get the content made for it. Wash, rinse, repeat indefinitely right now. Anything in here? Bridge. What's this? Anything? Empty. Blah. In the bucket, water. Huh. Nearly 3 liters of gas. I'll take that. There we go. Eh. That's not bad. $25 degrees is 14-inch widescreen, yeah. But it's only on 1080p, but it's... Yeah, oh, wow. 5,000 lumens, holy crap. You can take out a plane with that. That's a bright one. That's the, right there. Jesus. I could imagine you could probably blot out the sun with that. I'd be hyperbolic, but still, it's a bright projector. Oh yeah, 4K projectors are insanely expensive. I remember when 1080p was still like pretty expensive. I had a friend in college who like he had like a beefy gaming laptop. That was it was all about portability, but he also got like a 1080p 60 hertz projector for his main monitor for the laptop. And just put it on his wall in his living room. Woohoo! And stick the landing, stick the landing. There we go. Thank you. I'm just glad we landed okay. But yeah, and we'd go over there and watch like derpy anime all the time. Like that's where I think I watched the first few episodes of Urui Suzumiya. God, that anime is a throwback now, but also watched Lucky Star there, Darker Than Black a bit. Yeah, we just like hung out, ate junk food, and watched anime there. It was a nice place, nice guy too. It's just so funny to have like a portable laptop and a huge fucking expensive projector for your PC setup. I don't know. To each their own, whatever works for you, right? And to be fair, for the price, he got a lot of screen real estate. I think back then it was like $1,500 for a 1080p 60 hertz projector. Which, you know, this being over a decade and a half ago, was more, you know, inflation and all that. But it was super cool. Games on it looked really cool too. I can't really remember what games we played on it though. I remember being impressed by it. I think Far Cry 1 was really good on it, and well, we played Portal. That's right. Yeah, that was around the time Portal 1 came out. I'm gonna buy it 720p in 2015 and only afford $350. Yeah. Projector's not cheap, and where they don't tell you, or they should probably do now, but what's not obvious, at least for people like me, a lot of the cost is continuing because you have to replace the bulbs, and the bulbs are very specialized evaporated mercury ones, I think, and they are not cheap. They're like I think each one's like about $100 back then, 150. Granted, they last a long time, but still, like a continuing cost kind of thing. I didn't realize, at least not initially. But yeah, but it was still fun. I remember busting our sides up when we were watching Lucky Star the first time, as well as Setsukai no Ichizen, just like spoof animes that are really funny. Kill Watts and use an arc light. I have one. Your arc light connection, nice. How we doing? Okay, we broke 700 kilometers. That's good. I'd be super happy if we break 1,000 kilometers. I don't know if we'll be able to, but I'd be happy if we can. Do we have anything good in here? Here. Oil. Look at you. Oh, 9 liters of gas. Hello. Yes, please. I'll fill up a tank and we'll have some left over to put into our reserves. That's diesel. That's water. What's this? Come on, game. Work with me here. This is our, yeah. Come here, you. I'm going there. I feel a little bit better with this like good chunk of gas we found. Okay, that's done. We'll probably put the oil into the engine. That would help. Things in general. How are we doing in oil? Yeah, a little bit more won't hurt. There we go. How's our coolant? Coolant's okay. Wouldn't mind filling up our water supply a bit. Where's our oil thing? That's oil? No, that's another reserve of gas. This oil? That's diesel. This must be oil. Yeah. Come on, stand upright. Thank you. There we are. Do you have more oil? Yeah, you do. Just a little bit. Okay. This is water. Hopefully we have a drain here with water in it. More oil. Yeah, 32 liters of water. There we go. Water is stored. Yeah, you can store it in containers. Yep, you just have to be on top of collecting liquids, especially fuel. Fuel's like the most notorious one. If you have a good radiator and a good motor, oil and water are not that problematic. Yeah, typically like these hose things are primarily water. I haven't seen any that are not water, and they usually come in like decent sizes, so it's a good stopping point for that. It makes sense when you have like hunger and thirst turned on, and you have to worry about that too for survival. But we don't have that on, so it's just we have to worry about just cooling stuff. Okay, that's full. I'll take this. Only what? 0.3 liters. Yeah, I don't care about that. I'm gonna fill this up with some water too to top off our coolant. There we go. Yeah. This is gonna be disposable just for, again, filling up our coolant. Just carry this out. So that's for the motor. This is our reserve we're gonna take with us just in case. And I'm over preparing. Like I have a full jerry can of gas plus one that's mostly full. Like, yeah. I'm over preparing for sure. But now that's all full. We could throw this in the back. I mean, it's 2.5 liters of water. Why throw that out? There we go. That was a good stop. Let's save. Or I mess up. Motor's looking good. And off we go. Alright. Nanny cam on this. Typically the best place to get like both gasoline and diesel, besides those like, you know, good drops like that, is the tanker boats, but that kind of volume doesn't really make sense for this vehicle. Those are like for the tanker trucks, which I still want to get. Excuse me, sorry. Everyone has a sneasel these days, I think. Ah, sweet. I'll take a look at it in a bit. Oh, Debug, did you get any luck with that other software into OBS? I know we were looking at getting the CSS overwritten. I don't know how successful you were. Many projects going understandable. Very understandable. It's the only thing to do. I have a sticker in the back of my mind I need to do. I know exactly what I want to do for it. I just haven't executed on it yet. So that's something on mine. And half a dozen other half-baked ideas I need to formulate and get more done so I can make them. I want to do more cheer alerts slash dono alerts. So I have sub alerts up to 20. I think that's fine for now. I may add more later, I'm not sure. Definitely, you know, it's fun to make alerts no matter what they are, whatever the length they are, whatever. But some more cheer alerts I think would be nice, because I only have a handful right now and I want more. Just to figure out what I want. Looking for some self-hosted cop shops. Spend my money on. Turns out this has an RTMP server, but part is a lot. They're not the creative type to make stickers. Yeah. So it's funny, like I can't draw with shit. I can adapt existing things sometimes and add some interesting audio to them. That's what like most of mine are so far. The exceptions that are in my repertoire that look good and uniquely, you know, all cloth made, or like ones made by Nessa or Sari, they're way more the creative types. I also sleep while we stop, but drawing something from scratch is definitely not in my wheelhouse. I would love to get better. I just don't think it's in my skill set, to be honest. I just don't think it's for me. Which is fine. You know, everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, right? And that could be the latter for me. Oil. See, like, this is the kind of thing you'd find in the tanker boat. 31 liters of oil. What's in here? Anything? Empty. Fine. What's this? This is a nice radiator. Let's consider swapping to that. Just consider it. Let's look around first for more stuff. What we got in here? Come here, piece of shit. Gas oil. Fuck that. Another barrel. What's in here? 17 liters of gas. Might do something with that. Well, that 17 liters won't go that long, but it's a nice little chunklet. I'm not gonna lie. Come here. What's this? What are you? Gas oil. Blech. Empty. The metal detector. I'm guessing the dev has more planned for the metal detectors. I don't think they have a huge amount of purpose yet, but this seems really interesting to me compared to the current radiator, which is bigger but less active. I think this one will be better. Can I fit this in? Technically, yes. Technically, yes. It does fit. Question mark. So that's empty now. Alright. Autosave, please. Yeah, it's closed. That looks so dumb. I love it. That's oil. That's water. That's a full tank of thing. Gas. This is not full. Yeah, rat hoses or just serpentine belts too. Keep an eye on those. Almost full. There we go. So now we have 2 full jerry cans of gas. And I'm gonna top off our inner tank too. That's probably down a little bit, yeah. we go. Yeah. Let's see how this radiator does. Okay, it's also saved just in case we regret it. I'm gonna swap back, it's not that hard. Now spell off the harmonic balancer, lost power steering, or banging underneath the hood. It is completely full, yes. I'm gonna show you. Coolant is full. Oil is just down a little bit. But like it's spinning on its own off of whatever. Who knows? So that should hopefully keep us cooler. Or at least leak less water. Yep, smaller radiator, same water. It's probably thicker. I don't know. It's a video game. It doesn't have to make sense. Right? How are we doing? 700 change. Right now I could probably focus more on speeding if I really wanted to, but then that increases my chances of crashing, which slows me down. So I'm trying to find a good balance. Going fast and making good time, but lowering my risk of crashing so much. Crashing the car, not crashing the game. Can't really do much about that. That would be a cool thing to have, like, more pieces of the vehicle you can upgrade and swap out. Like right now you can do radiator, engine, I think fuel tank for some vehicles. And that's about it. Like there's really not much more you can do. And that'd be nice to have more things. Like you need the tires and hubcaps. But shocks would be nice. Turbocharger would be really cool. Like a really cool fast car like that. Spoilers. You know, you gotta look cool. Street lights, like, you know, street glow kind of stuff. That'd be neat. I'm gonna see 1,001 things you can customize with cars in this game. That'd be super cool. And I don't think any of them would be super difficult to make. Grand scheme of things. But what do I know? I don't know the code base for this game. Last post I saw on the news thread under the Steam forums, he is going to focus on multiplayer soon, but it's going to require a lot of rework, which is fine. I want functional multiplayer in some form or fashion. And when that happens, I'll be excited. And I hope he takes his time and does it right, and we have a great experience out of it. It'd be nice to resume play necessary and going all the way to mom's house. Our other save. We got really far before like the patch to multiplayer really broke things. Honestly, if there was possible to have an interim version of the multiplayer branch where it was more stable a couple versions back, I could deal with that, I think. Even though it was kind of cursed, it wasn't as cursed as it is now. And it's more tolerable in my opinion. But I don't know, that's just, you know, one anecdotal experience, so we'll see. Regardless, I love the fact that he's focusing on that. I do think it's really cool he added motorcycles. That is super neat. And motorcycles aren't the best thing for like going long distance, but they're just cool. A little bit of gas will top up. There were bicycles for the longest time, but motorcycles, at least some of the models, are newer. That's all we want here. We're not gonna go beyond that. Just gotta keep on top of our gas level because that will bite us if we don't. Also trying to keep an eye on Sari's chat. There we are. But we're still making good time, making good progress. Long Drive is such a weirdly unique game where you have so much permutation of creativity you can do with it, and there's like I play it to where I'm looking forward to getting to like the end state, the end goal of reaching Mom's house. But like seeing other people like craft their own adventures and making weird inventions is also fascinating, and it's like very much sort of like a personality test for streamers. It's a very good quote. I think White spoke up the other day. Speedrun of Vroom, that would be scary. And still the scream, I love that. So good. But Broom speedrun would be interesting because, like, when you don't have to worry about hunger or thirst, I don't think there's any reason why you couldn't do it. If you master the controls of a broom, which I would think would be impossible, but there's crazy people out there. Arguably, it would be one of the better ways of doing it because you just go in the air and head straight towards Mom's house and just fly straight, no stopping, because you don't have to worry about fuel or oil or water. Yeah, that would be probably the better way. Yeah, there's also the compass. I forgot about that. So if you mount a compass on a broom and you can actually successfully handle the broom, that's probably the better way to do a speedrun. The only other thing I think would be comparable would be the UFO. That's way more difficult to get. Not impossible, but more difficult. You can capture the UFO, yes. And you can drive it. White did in his previous save. He caught it with a tanker boat and a buster sword. Which was impressive. Impressive. But no, it registers collision with like the tanker boats. There was one on the road that got caught on, and then he lowered it with the buster sword. Does it fall out the air at that point? No, it just gets stuck there. You lower it to the ground where you can get on top of it, and then you can mount onto it. Then you just have control over it. It's basically creative flight at that point. That's probably the best way, once you have it, to get across the long drive. So I would argue, if you're not going for a speed run, kind of remove some of the charm of it, you know? I don't know. A part of the charm of this game, to me at least, is handling the road, worrying about fluid maintenance, exploring some buildings, having weird encounters there. Yeah, infinite side quests, 100%. It's however many you want to take, really. Balls, I didn't see the rock. Come on, landed okay. Thank you. Did I lose anything? Nothing of note. Alright, we're good. Trying to get my water bottle open so I can have a sip. Second sip. We also have good tunes to jam to, which I'm super happy about. We're heading into a better biome? Hell yeah. It's good stuff. Springs are great. Maybe a little overreactive at times, but as long as the car can land on its feet and not spill the trunk everywhere, I'm pretty content to roll with that. Just kind of top heavy, I think. Might be all the TVs. Maybe. Yeah. So they do crumple as they're supposed to in a collision. These modern cars. Anything good here? Doubt it. Let's take a quick look. Let's take a quick look around. I think I saw like a vessel, some sort over here. A little bit of gas. Yeah. Gotta keep on top of that. There we go. What's this? Ah, light. Cool. It also causes the locking module to pop free if it gets to a sharpening thing. Yeah. So just hanging on before the hook just breaks off the hook. Yeah, 100%. We slept through most of the night, but we're probably just before dawn now. It's fine. So rock. I'm so glad it's Friday and can actually just sit down and play a more long drive for a while. It's been on my brain for days now. This game and like Kerbal Space Program are like my brain off, just chill kind of games. But Kerbal right now, I'm so far out in the system that it takes multiple like days to actually get like a relay into position. It's so far out. The mission clock, even at max like time warp, takes like 70 years to get things in certain maneuvers. You haven't K-Speed yet? It's definitely worth a look. It's a very fun game, especially the first one. Second one still needs some work, but the first one is very good. If you like rocket dynamics and orbital mechanics, it's a really good playground for that. I just goof around and do dumb things with like having landers everywhere and relays everywhere, and have massive science vessels go everywhere and collect science. But you can do a million and one things in that game. There's no wrong way to play it, really. However you want to play it. There's, you know, sandbox, science, career, campaign. Scott Manley launched the number 2 of rocket sections. Interesting. I've seen a lot of people. Fair enough. Yeah, KSP 2 is a little right now underwhelming because it's not performant yet, and there's still a lot of functionality not there yet. For what's on the roadmap, I'm hopeful and optimistic. I think it will be a good game in its own right. But being done by a different studio than the original team that did KSP 1, it's not going to have the same soul, and that could be okay. It is going to be, I don't know, forever have like a slight aftertaste to it. Yeah. So that in mind, like KSP 2 being basically a new game of its own accord, I think it's going to be a fine game eventually once it gets some of this shit, worked out. It's still in early access. That's what early access is for. Sandbox mode's kind of functional now. The part assembler is pretty functional. Just when you're launching and navigating, the frame rate is just terrible. Like, I don't have a bad computer. I have a 5950 and a 3800. Not a bad computer by any stretch. And I get 17 frames. And not even like a big system. I have like, that's like only one craft in flight. Yeah, so. No, this was like a while ago, like a month or two ago. So the patches since may have fixed a lot of this. And that is one of their priorities, so. That could be stale information. Very much so. Very much. But the things I'm really excited for are the interstellar travel and the potential of multiplayer being interesting. I don't know how that's going to work, but I like the idea. Multiplayer KSP just sounds like a lot of fun. Rocket Science is multiplayer. That's true. Imagine doing like orbital maneuvers with 2 people and like network latency taken into account. It's gonna be interesting. But like that and like faster than light travel will be interesting. It's an interesting truck. Speaking of interesting. No tires, but not quite what I want. Anything else here? No. Just keep going. 150 kilometers. We're making good headway. The multiplayer rocket science is going to be interesting. I'm really curious what they're planning to do for the interstellar ships, like faster than light, massive like colony ships kind of thing. I think that's gonna be really neat. They've already added really cool parts already. Generally, I'm just really excited at what they're doing. It is very much a work in progress, and it shows. Just, again, fine. There was another game that's supposed to come out in a month or two. It's like a survival craft game I need to take a look at. But so many good games coming out from here and there. This is on PC, but not gonna lie, I've seen a lot of people playing Zelda the past day or two. Has it been 2 days yet? I don't know. Day, let's say. Has me tempted to pick up the copy of Breath of the Wild I have, collecting dust, and actually playing it. Yeah, a bit over 24. Oh, no, it'll be 24 hours once it hits midnight, I think. Because per time zone. I guess if you count like Australia, if you want to start watching like, you know, over there, then yeah, it's probably over 24 by now. At least like relevant to me, like, I don't know. The day and change that it's been out. Seeing all the Zelda and how good Tears of the Kingdom is. I have always added the inclination to play Breath of the Wild. I haven't yet. I haven't played a single minute of it yet. And I know there's difficulties with it. I'm not a huge fan of like the weapon durability design, to be honest. That'll probably annoy the snot out of me the whole time. And, you know, it is what it is with that. But having a Skyrim-esque game, I think would be fun. I don't have a capture card to actually do it on stream, and I don't know if it's worth getting it, especially if like everyone's gonna be watching Tears of the Kingdom. The audience for Breath of the Wild is probably not gonna be super there right now, especially right now. Dan was attempting to play it. I think it's HDMI, so like depends on whether or not I bounce signal up to a monitor or run it just playing, watching through my OBS preview mirror window. Yeah, they're not expensive. I'm not worried about that at all. There's ones that are like, yeah, under 30 bucks that totally work. And not that I need it to be super fancy either, because I'm not much of a console gamer these days, so like investing much in that wouldn't make sense. If I really wanted to go overboard, I'd probably get like a nice AverMedia PCI card, but again, probably not going to. But getting a cheap USB one would definitely work. And Breath of the Wild, my faults might be a fun game to play. I don't know. Playing controlling the projector with the Steam Deck. Ooh, yeah. I have to admit, the Steam Deck has been an impressive piece of machinery. It is, 100% is a handheld, just a handheld PC. And I love it because the fact that you get virtually your whole PC, like your whole Steam library right there immediately in day one. No other console has had such a big launch of like a big library of games at launch. It works very well. There are some games that are not as tuned for it yet, which is understandable, like compatibility and all that. But for the games it does run with, it runs extremely well. You get decent battery life out of it. It's for the money you're spending, you get a really capable, PC out of it. And there's like a full-on desktop mode and everything. I'm very happy with my purchase. I don't play on enough, really. I just noticed the gas cap is open, so I'm an idiot. I don't play on it enough as I should. I really should play on it more. Pretty much, yeah. You can load it up to like some USB 3 docks and have like a lot of like I/O and extensibility and whatnot, multi-monitor and all that good stuff. It's surprising how much juice you get out of that little machine. I've seen people like have like wireless mice, like a mini like dock, and like a portable monitor kind of thing, and like a portable like mini keyboard, like that, not like a full, like a 2/3 keyboard or something like that. All portable, all wireless, and like, oh, cool. You have a very capable desktop and a handful of parts there with multiple monitors. That's fucking awesome. And you can install Windows on it too. It's not super supported, but you can run Windows 10 on them. SteamOS is fine. It's perfectly capable for what you need it for in a lot of cases. But yeah, just sideload Windows because you can. Why not? In the past sounds, Lenovo dock, I have it. Thunderbolt, which might work, we don't know, which is fine. Yeah. I forget, like, I think Linus Tech Tips had a video on it. So I'd refer to his expertise on that. But, yeah. I know he was playing around with, like, other portable PCs before the Steam Deck came out. And I think he's sold on the Steam Deck at this point. Oh yeah, Linus has more money than what he knows to do with. Why can I not? I'm stuck? I have mouse steering on for some reason. How do I turn that on? How can I turn it back off? Let's change camera. Blah blah blah. It's somewhere in here. I pressed U for some reason. There we go. Sorry about that. Thank you, Debug. The light. Anything in here? What the heck is that? I don't know. More water if needed it. Ooh, sunglasses. How do I take off my own glasses? Back to controls. Room accessories is X. That one. What do we want to switch to, chat? I like this one a lot. Yeah. It's X for both of them. It does glasses first for whatever reason. Or whatever was last on, I guess. But we got new ones now. We're happy. So, can't sleep yet. There we go. Whatever. Put the nanny cam on the dash. Ah. 750 kilometers. We're making good progress. I doubt we'll break 1,000, but it'd be nice if we did. That's why you don't text and drive, kids. Let's see. Pull over. Can I sleep over here? I can't. Sleep? I'll also use a piece of gum. I was actually pretty proud of myself the other day. I actually cooked something meaningful for once in a long time. I made eggs and toast, fried eggs and toast, which is been a hot minute since I actually did any serious cooking. Sari's the cook in the family. I am not. I can make a handful of dishes, and it was pretty nice. I was actually pretty happy with myself. It came out better than I thought it would. I put a little too much oil in the pan when I was cooking the eggs, so it kind of was eggs fried in oil. What they say, when in doubt, scissor it out. Yeah, so the eggs were sort of fried in oil, like immersed in oil more than they should have been. But still very tasty. Only broke one of the yolks. The other 3 were very runny. Yeah, I made 4 eggs and 4 slices of toast. I was hungry. That also reminds me, I need to run the dishwasher so I can have eggs tomorrow. I'd like to do that. Ow. Asshole UFOs. $760. Cool. I was always curious whether or not the UFOs are RNG or there's a timer or something on them. How much randomness goes into them. Pre-rolls are back on. Sorry, any new people that roll in. Next time I stop for a sleep in the game, we'll take a short ad break just to get the pre-rolls back off. There we go. Back control. Look at that skyline. That horizon looks beautiful. So good. Rust bus and nothing else of note. Oh, we're going downhill now. I am liberally using my e-brake. There we go. Suspension wasn't too bad there for a second. What we got up here? No motor, no fuel tank, no radiator. Is there a fuel tank we can scavenge? What's this compound? I don't know what it's officially called, but it's like a diner kind of place. No. Like a church. I don't know what else to really call it. Right now I'm looking to see if there's a gas tank that's worth scavenging. Simply put, because if there's a tank, a fuel tank we can scavenge, we can maybe transfer to that. Maybe. May not be in luck though. Alcohol, oil. That was loud. Yeah, we maybe have so well in that regard. Oh, some gas at least. That's kind of nice. Come here, you. Fill up our tank a bit. Not bad. Yeah, that's a shame. Let's check the bathroom real quick. Yeah, I can't remember if fuel tanks are easily removable. I think in some cars they aren't, but not anything here, unfortunately. Dang nabbit. Oh well. Yeah, we need oil. Our water's doing perfect though. Liter of oil? Hell yeah. Open or closed? I think it's closed now. Nope. Now it's open. Now it's closed. Yep. It's a shame. That's so close to being usable. I'm in and out of phone call. As the other party was in and out of phone service. Jesus. That sucks. I'm sorry, Debug. That's really unfortunate. Yeah. The only time you have to worry about those is if you go underground, you know? Which is... Oh, that's my pill reminder. Hold on. Use that for a while. Sat phone unlimited usage. Most of those are 50 to 90 cents a minute. Yeah, I've known some are really expensive, but if you have unlimited, that I mean, honest, there's another high cost somewhere, like monthly or something for that. The sat phones are not the most cost effective, I'd say. Much better. Yeah, they're very convenient in terms of like always relying on it. 105 a month, and it's analog service, but still works. Okay, for what you're getting, that's not that bad. If you're in a position where you need a satellite phone regularly, that's a pretty good deal all in all. If you're like, if you're trucking a lot, or if you're doing a lot of wilderness stuff, or if you're just, you know, mobile a lot, that's definitely useful. Being analog though, I guess you don't get mobile web on it though, right? I got 75, and then they add a fees up to... Fucking hell, that's a lot of fees. Wow. My condolences then. That's a beautiful sunset. Ah, bunny. I'm gonna say okay. Fucking mutant bunnies, man. Debug, there's kids these days in their 20s that don't know what dial-up sounds like. A couple of jobs ago, like part of my responsibility was mentoring college students. And yeah, they had no idea what dial-up was. They didn't know what a non-smartphone cell phone was. That's ancient technology nowadays, unfortunately. Or a non-touchscreen phone. Like that's new. Like that doesn't exist in their brain space. Which, like, yeah, the natural inclination, like, oh, you have it so good. We toughed it out. We toughed it out when we were kids. Yes and no. Like, yeah, I had to deal with dial-up. Yeah, I had to deal with like dumb cell phones for a while. I never had to work a farm. I didn't have to like run without electricity, really. You know, there were small power outages here and there, but every generation will look upon the new generations like, oh, you didn't have our difficulties, and have like a sort of a, I don't know if smug's the right word, but like this initial reaction, like, oh, you have it so good. Analog phones. I jumped calls from 5 miles to 35 miles. I incurred a toll fee because I drove down a hill. Oh yeah. I remember when like in area code calls were free, but once you got out of area code, you had to pay extra. You didn't have to dial the area code every single time. If you didn't include the area code, it was assumed the same one. That was super nice. When we had dial up there for a while, there was like one server that had a phone address inside of our area code, and so the dial-up service itself was unlimited, but if we used any other server, we have to pay the minutes on the phone. All right, I'm gonna sleep and I'm gonna run a 90-second ad. I'll be back in a bit. But yeah. It was just crazy that if that server ever got overloaded, we were basically kicked off the internet based on load. We'll let the ad run through just so get some pre-rolls off for a while for folks. But for a 56K modem, having unlimited internet effectively, like never going down, and then replicating the dial-up networking to the local LAN through my computer at the time as a kid was kind of fancy. My current cell phone number is actually based off that landline number we had dedicated for internet. It was a bare bones basic landline just for internet, and it was in my room because I was always on the internet. I was a nerd. I'm still a nerd, but when I got a cell phone and we needed a new number for it, they based it off of that because it was mine, right? That's fucking nostalgia right there. Having to replicate all that. Oh, ads are over. Alright. Let's rock and roll. Sorry about the ads, folks. My first phone was a Nokia C332. I didn't get a Nokia. I had a Kyocera phone, which was a knockoff Nokia, cheaply built, but it had Snake and can dial. That's all it could do. It had no other ports. It had like a proprietary charger kind of thing. My next phone was an LG phone. It was the first color screen phone that had a camera. You can actually do like, it was a camera phone. It was a revolutionary idea at the time. That was a really good phone. It had like GPS maps to Verizon. Had a couple games. I think there was a Splinter Cell version that ran on it. No real internet though, and could text and T9 dial, and it was a flip phone, like a clamshell. Perfectly great phone. I loved it. Then I went. I think my first smartphone was. I don't remember now. A lot of people had Razer. I was not privy to a Razer. I had the LG for a long time. I think my first smartphone was a Motorola Photon. Was one of the first multi-core Android phones. I think. Was it Android? It may not be an Android. But yeah, it was a really nice phone. Just for one reason. It had a physical full QWERTY keyboard. You can fold it, folded in half like lengthwise, like a hot dog. You can open it up, it had like dual speakers, a nice wide like screen, and a full QWERTY keyboard, and like essentially arrow keys for navigation and doing your regular menu stuff. It was super nice. I missed that phone. Replaceable battery, had an SD card. It was a champ and a half for its time. It was a great phone. I think I went to a Q for a while. And then I went over to LG again for smartphones. For the past like 4 phones I had. No, I also had a Samsung there once. But that was my first Android phone. Was a Samsung. It was like a Galaxy S4 or some shit. Ancient. And then I went to LG. And I got their V series with every model. I had like V10, V20, V30. And LG is sort of winding down their cell department. And I need a new cell phone a while back. Years now. So I got a Pixel 6 when it was new. And I love my Pixel 6. And what sold me on a Pixel was I had AI phone screening. So I rant on this a bunch of times. I get every single bit of spam call. Every bit in the nation comes to me 5 times over. I hate it. I don't know how it happened, but my number is on everyone's list 4 times over. And having an AI screen 98% of that bullshit out has been a treat. I love it. And I've done every trick of the book. I use the do not call list. I use the carrier for me, T-Mobile now. Blocking app, everything. I've done it all. And still, I have gotten a shit ton. The AI screening and the pixels is what saved a lot of my sanity from that. I still have the audio somewhere, but also don't say anything. Their automation is going to line dead and removes me a while after. Oh, see, that's smart. I just don't pick up because I don't bother. But for a while, I got really annoyed. I got it heavy for like a few months. And what I did, I got an account with Twilio, which is a telephonic service company, software as a service company, where you can hook it to the libraries and make text messages, phone calls, sign up to like SMS alerts, things like that. That they're the back end for a lot of those like systems, right? I bought 10 virtual phone lines, made a simple little .NET app that connected to their back end, iterated through those 10 numbers, would call back the spam numbers, and blast "Never Gonna Give You Up" by Rick Astley endlessly, ringing their lines off the hook for flood their lines until they got pissed. I don't care if I had to pay like a tenth of a penny per minute. It was fucking worth it to get that catharsis. It was fucking worth it. It felt so good to turn the tables on them. And what made it feel even better, those scammers, they couldn't call out. Their lines were flooded. So I also neutralized their business. It was so good. The only way I've seen to be able to get off a list is if I get a human on the other end and I asked for who are they calling for, what company are you representing, and can I get a full mailing address so I can send funds as you request? And they always hang up. Because if you get their address, there is a thanks for the follow. There is a provision where you can actually charge them to the FTC, I think, or FCC, for and get like money recovered for them. There's a few people have done it like as a livelihood. Yeah. Thanks, you, Corvus. Welcome in. How you doing tonight? Your time zone, whatever. How you doing? Yeah. I stopped doing it when I once or twice got a real human and it felt bad because like they just got caught in the crossfires. They don't deserve that. And I think Twilio does not allow that use of their backend anymore for obvious reasons. I don't think I was the only one doing it. There was a YouTube video that came out a while back showing how to do it. I just followed those instructions because I was lazy. Now, the YouTube video chose like a different audio to send over the phone. I did Never Gonna Give You Up because that's fucking hilarious. Yeah, but I want to see any scammer actually try and report me to like regulatory authorities. Oh yeah, we're running an IRS scam, but this guy, DesertIce, he kept on fucking calling me and blasting Rick Astley in my ear. Sure, yeah. But I think Twilio will get the complaints, not me, and they want to protect themselves. So I don't do it anymore. I may have the code sitting around somewhere if it still runs. I still have the Twilio account. I still think I have the 10 numbers. They're free. They only cost like minutes to use, kind of thing. Yeah. They were real numbers. They just weren't my phone number. There were just 10 numbers you buy for telephony services. But yeah, just don't do that anymore. It just felt really good at the time. On Twilio's site though, the API records the phone calls by default. So I still have the audio floating around somewhere in there where you hear like the scammer pick up like, oh, this is Jeff from the IRS, and like 3 seconds in, Never Gonna Give You Up kicks in. He's like, motherfucker, fuck, shit, cock ass. Just cursing at the top of their lungs. And it's like, yes. So good. So cathartic. Yeah. About like halfway into like the recordings, you just hear people pick up, hear the music, start cursing in Hindi. I think it was an Indian call center. And yeah. Hey, Obsidian. Jeff. Fucking Jeff. What an asshole. What we got here? Anything good? What we got here? A liter and a half of gas. I'll take that. Any day of the week. That's why, like, if you ever wonder why in some games a reference to a random Jeff, part of the reason is because that asshole. Jeff from the IRS trying to take my money. You're using an unneeded F. How do you mean debug? Yeah, I'm missing the joke on that, unfortunately. I think I have a scene for that. Hold on. Let's watch a YouTube video together. Oh, Jeff Dunham. Yeah, I know of him. He had some problems later on. I think I know what you're talking about, though. It's ringing a bell. I think later on, though, he became, yeah. I may peek at it later. I think it came out that he was, like, Islamophobic or racist or something. He had some, like, really nasty comments caught, and kind of went the way of Dane Cook for different reasons. I might be misremembering. Yeah, it's probably copyright. Definitely his earlier stuff I think was pretty good. Doesn't age as well, but there was definitely funny moments in there. I forget he has like one puppet that's like the older gentleman. I forget his name, Walter or something. Those bits were pretty funny. Yeah, Walter was pretty good. And it also had like Bubba. Was also pretty funny, in my opinion. For the same reason, like Trailer Park Boys is funny. I need to rewatch Trailer Park Boys. It's like a lot of seasons came out since they built back the crew, and there's like a lot I haven't seen in the later seasons. I only saw like the first 4 or 5. Was Peanut making fun of his name? Yeah. I remember Peanut. It was the monkey, right? Or the gorilla? Green looking humanoid. Okay. Yeah. There were some good bits in there. Say. Yeah, Trailer Park Boys. Back when I was working in my second studio, like half the studio was obsessed with the show. So much so that when we were working on Burger Time, one of the achievements is called Dirty Burger, which is a reference to Trailer Park Boys. Yeah, okay, yeah. I remember what you're talking about. Yep. I worked for production houses. I worked for game studios, a couple of them. They no longer exist. But I did work for one that made a remake of Burger Time. Yeah, my background, my major from school was video game design and development. I had a Bachelor of Science in it. And I made a handful of games over the years. Yeah, well, there's an original Burger Time from the 80s that was a arcade game, and it's a classic. Really fun, really good. Not as well known as other ones, but it's definitely a classic in its own right. But we got the license, the rights to make a remake of it for PS3, 360, and Wii, if I remember correctly. And an achievement on that is called Dirty Burger. I forget the conditions for it. Purely as a reference to Trailer Park Boys. I love the fact that it's still out there in the ether. There's that. There's also some Metalocalypse like jokes that we left in Kick-Ass. Because that game was a fork of Metalocalypse that eventually got canceled. Because Cartoon Network hates money. They vary. There are various levels of risk. The PS3 had its own nuances with its GPU job queuing with the cell processor. That was super annoying. The Wii was funny because it was essentially a GameCube with an extra stick of RAM duct tape in. Yeah, the cell processor was a nightmare. If you built an engine custom for it, it wasn't bad. But if you had an engine that has to be cross-platform, it's a nightmare. Because the workflow is completely different for rendering things. And so to queue things up to handle it properly, it's just not great. One of the reasons why not many like third parties wanted to go on it. The Wii was funny because it was a GameCube, and it had an extra bank of memory in there that in the API was a separate function call, like C++ standard like kind of function call, malloc, free, calloc, are standards for decades, right? For the Wii, you had a like effectively a malloc and calloc 2 to pull from that other memory bank for whatever use you need for your game, right? It's its own thing. But like all the debugging tools and scripts and whatnot you wrote for the GameCube also work for the Wii NDev. Just it's endlessly hilarious to me that it's just reused hardware in a different form factor. The 360 was for development a dream for a lot of things. The only thing I would complain about it is that it was big Indian, while most PCs are little Indian, so you have to do a lot of like real level memory manipulation to transform things for it. And its CPU was an IBM CPU, which had its nuances in some cases where its branch prediction wasn't great, but it made up for it with horsepower. So, but its debugging was super nice. So, Little Indian versus Big Indian is a reference to Gulliver's Travels, where the two different tribes or villages, they ate eggs in two different directions. The big side and the little side first, right? That's the reference. Indianness in computer science is essentially the order of bits within a byte, what direction it goes. That's it. That's all it is. But like some hardware is one way, some hardware is another, and communicating between the two, assuming one way versus the other, is an easy pitfall to fall into if you're not familiar with it. For the most part, most machines these days are Little Indian. Like conventional home machines are Little Indian for the most part. Most conventional servers are Little Indian because they're running like high-end but conventional hardware. Only old school mainframes still run Big Indian. We made them a standard on that instead of just running it all the same way. There's different companies built them differently. Yeah, Itanium was I think that was Intel's offering for Big Indian. That was a very short run line though, because there really wasn't much demand for Big Indian home consumer hardware. Where Big Indian still lives is mainframe processing, mostly for legacy stuff. Several jobs ago, I was working in some legacy hard systems that link to C and Fortran to give you an idea of how old it is. And they're running like IBM mainframes, Solaris mainframes, things like that. So that was all Indian this is. And 360 was weird because it was a somewhat modern machine running Big Indian from IBM for whatever reason. So that was kind of a pain. Not a huge deal because like the tooling masked a lot of it for you. Its debugging was super nice because you can make a build of it in Visual Studio, map the storage of the 360 as a network drive, and have a simple like build step to copy the binaries over, and connect a debugger over to it, and just debug live as you're playing a game on the 360, and you know, fix things and develop that way. It was super nice because the Visual Studio is still bar none the best debugging experience I've ever encountered. It's why they charge so much money for it. Because nothing else can compete with that. Yep. I think that's a more modern Xboxes have the 10 gig port. These are still like, I think 100 megabit or 1 gig back in the day for 360s. But all that aside, the debugging experience of that was fantastic. The PSP was a fucking nightmare. Fucking nightmare. You had 32 megs of RAM to play around with. A quarter of it, not even yours. That's the OS. Don't even touch it. Another quarter was volatile, so to make a kernel call, it gets wiped out. So you have like 16 megs to play around with. It was tiny. Just utterly tiny. Yeah. What else was annoying about the PSP? Oh, it's debugger. Oh my god, this is funny. You connect to it and had a watch window for like watching variable values change over time. You had to right-click, manually refresh it. Nintendo, their PS2 debugger wasn't even this bad. This is a newer software, worse than the previous one. This is so dumb to get it that bad. I am not surprised the PSP failed so hard. It's because its tooling, it was bottlenecked on memory bandwidth and way too expensive for its competitor, which was like Game Boy. Really. So I'm not sad for that going the way it went. Oh, one other funny thing about the Wii. It was the only console we were working with that when it had Rumble, had digital Rumble. It did not have analog Rumble like the 360 or the PS2 did. So you could not have, by default, varying intensities of Rumble on a Wii. On its controller, the Wiimotes. It is. The motor's on or off. You don't have any control of the intensity in the motor. It's a little like oscillating motor inside the controller. But the 360 and the PS2, at least that I've experienced with, as well as PS3, allow you to pass like a value of how much voltage to pass to it effectively and how much strong you want the rumble. And the Wii didn't allow that in its API. So one task I had to do for Toy Story was to fake analog rumble intensity on the game engine side. What I did for that it's effectively within a frame or a second, a given second. I had the rumble on or off based on how strong the rumble is supposed to be. So if it was like 100% full rumble, it was on the whole time. If it was half rumble, like 0.5 or 50%, it'll be on half the second, you know, based on the frame. There's some randomness in there to give it some organicness to it. But that's how you can emulate the analog behavior of a digital hardware platform. One way of doing it. And just funny that like the PS2, which was an older piece of hardware, was better in this one regard, was amusing to me. PS2 was a nightmare in its own right though. Like the disk read speed, I'm not gonna stop there, was so slow. Yeah, pretty much. I bet it went to like a GPIO or a SPI bus of some sort underneath the hood. I didn't look at that board close enough to really know. The PS2 like CD-ROM drive was so slow for Ben 10. We had to fill up the disk, the inner part of it, with dead data, just so we could push all the actual game data to the edge of the disk. Because you have the same RPMs, but you have more actual real estate, more space on the outer parts of a disk, so you can get actually more higher read rates out of a disk if you pad it out to the edge. That's what you have to do when you're working with such hardware. Just squeeze out every little bit of juice you can. It helped a lot. It still had the worst loading times of all the platforms, but UMD driving the PSP at least had that right, where the performance was pretty decent in terms of read and write. Mostly. There was edge cases though that weren't great. 360 was a champ. It was so weird. Like PSP and PS2 both have 32 megs of RAM. PS2 has an extra, I think, 8 for sound, dedicated sound memory. The Wii has like 128 megs of RAM or something like that. Well, the 360 at the time had half a gig. So we just threw memory at pools because we could. I wasn't ever going to use it all, but like we have so much excess memory, it's like fucking throw it at anything. Did I ever work on something as old as Game Gear? No. For college, we had a machine architecture class where we had to work on a Game Boy Advance for our project. So that was kind of close, where it was like a cartridge-based system. So I worked with like the Game Boy Advance SDK for a while there. But nothing as old as a Game Gear. I never worked as far back as like the N64, SNES, NES kind of era. That was before me. I was from the optical era. Game Boy Advance is okay. Like, given that it's like a little thing that, you know, ran off of batteries, had to have a decent battery life, and have like a fairly like compelling game fit on a cartridge, it was okay. One nuance that was with that though, it doesn't have a floating point processor. The Game Boy Advance does not have a floating point processor, so you had to emulate fractional numbers in fixed point, which I did have some fixed point processing, but not much. And that was like a lot of a learning experience for me, because I didn't work with fixed point numbers before or since. Just a weird thing to think about, where essentially, this is really low level, but essentially with floating point numbers is that you have some memory made, you know, allocated for the value of the number, and some of the memory allocated for what power it is, how far into the tens or decimals it is, right? Where the decimal point goes in the number expression. It's never perfectly accurate to the approximation. You never can get a, well, not ever. It's very expensive to get a accurate representation of a fractional number in computer science. So floating point numbers work that way. That's why there's a few bugs you see in games once in a while due to the floating point nature of the hardware. Fixed point is like it sounds. You have a set amount of memory for the matrix, a set amount of memory for the exponent, and you cannot vary it. It was set based on what the hardware could do. And there's certain things you just couldn't do with that hardware that, for the most part, in those kind of games didn't matter, but you couldn't do like as how do I put this? You wouldn't be able to do like a lot of 3D mesh math or like matrix math. So you wouldn't be able to run like a really complicated 3D engine, for example, which made sense. You didn't need it on a Game Boy Advance, whatever. Just a lot of really interesting things I learned from that. Just how all that stuff worked. But that actually relates tangentially to something. Floating point numbers, since they only have a fixed amount of memory they're working with, and how much is close to what part of the number varies. That's the floating point numbers. There's always like small, tiny amounts of like data loss. For a game, it doesn't matter. Oh, that object when it was moving around didn't line up within a billionth of a number. Who cares? No one notices. But in cases where it does matter, it's funny. And it's a whole thing where you've probably seen it called Z fighting. Z fighting is floating point numbers losing accuracy. Essentially what's happening is that on the GPU there's a chunk of memory called the Z buffer, and it's a bank of floating point numbers of how far into the scene the last pixel was rendered at that point. The reason why we have it is so when you're drawing objects in a game, if something is behind the current pixel, it's not like transparent or anything, it'll just skip rendering the pixel because there's no point when it's already being covered by something else, right? No point. It's a performance optimization. But that comparison of like what's greater in depth is a floating point number versus a floating point number. And when two pieces of mesh data are really close to each other or coplanar, which one wins in that evaluation varies, because the floating point number will jitter back and forth on either side. And so you'll see the texture flicker in and out on both ends because of inaccuracies of floating point numbers. That's all it is. It's not complicated. It is really funny. I've seen it a billion times in games. It's such an easy thing to have happen. Two textures coplanar. That's it. Will make Z fighting happen almost invariably. Kinda, yeah. Whoa there, Nessie. Whoa there, Nessie. Whoa there, horse. Oh, boy. Alright, we're good. Alright, we're still trucking along. Okay. Anyways. Yeah. Finding out how that worked and like why it is was just super amusing to me now that when I see it in games, it's such a simple thing, so easy to fix. Just don't have two textures coplanar, you just spread them out a little bit. Tiny amounts will solve it. And it still happens all the time. That is like a very common bug you see in games to this day. The other one would be occlusion culling being off for the mesh. Yeah, it's just race conditions a little bit different, where you have two competing processes work on timing. This is really just an error in math. That's all. Yeah, that's Z fighting. That's one of the examples of Z fighting. But occlusion killing is another fun bug that's, again, not complicated, but is really easy to have happen if you're not familiar with it. Occlusion killing, when it's done wrong, is when, like, so let me back up a little bit. Occlusion culling as a concept is in a game engine when you have a camera, a viewport. It's a three-dimensional trapezoid. You have the near plane of where the monitor is, effectively, the far plane of how far you can see into the distance, and four lines that connect them. Four-dimensional trapezoid. It's a shape called a frustrum. That's just the nature of the viewport, right? And one optimization a lot of game engines have done over the years is that it will take an object and say, are you within this frustrum? Do you exist within this frustrum? Does your collision mesh say you're in this area that the camera could potentially see? If yes, okay, well, we'll try and render you. If not, we'll skip you because the player's not looking at you. Let's not bother. But a common error I've seen in games is when the mesh used for occlusion culling checks, the collision mesh, and the visual one are not synced up. You look at a certain distance and this blinks out of existence because you still see the collision mesh in terms of occlusion culling checks. And you'll just look around, it pops in and out because that's not synced up. No, not always. No, collision mesh is usually much lower poly. There's no point in checking the 500,000 triangles on a barrel when a collision mesh can do it with a dozen. It just saves a lot of CPU cycles to have a simpler mesh for collision. Yeah, they're not the same meshes, not by a long shot. Pretty much any asset these days is going to be made with two meshes at least. Yep, gunshots only go so far because the ray cast only goes to the far clip plane. Similar problem, but usually a point doesn't get out of sync with its mesh because it's one and the same kind of that point. But yeah, that was a very common bug I saw in Cyberpunk near release, is that a lot of meshes were out of sync on that. So they pop in and out. And you still see it from time to time in some games. Yeah. Or if you see like a hard line of horizon of things coming in and out of a game at a very far distance, that's from the far clip plane of the frustrum. Back in the day, like a lot of game engines would have like a far clip plane fog effect to help mask that, so it looks like it faded into fog. And like there's actually hardware support for that. It's so old. Silent Hill was notorious for turning that feature into part of its narrative, right? But the reason why, much of the reason why I had that fog was to save rendering so much on the PS1. The fog, no. Fog has always been relatively easy. I'm not sure. Potentially. I wouldn't be surprised if it did. Because hardware fog in DirectX and OpenGL have been around for decades at this point, so yeah, I would not be surprised if Myst had it as well. So fog is an effect that, starting at a certain distance from the camera, a pixel has a higher chance of becoming the fog color. So you can set the fog color to like an off-white, like kind of grayish color. And the further you go out from the camera beyond that point, the more and more pixels will be rendered that color. To a point where, once you get to close to the far clip plane, it's all that color. But it just looks like something's faded in and out into the fog. That's all it is. There's no texture, there's no mesh to it. It's just a product of the math of it. instead of being a hard cut at the far clip plane, it's sort of like a fade out to the color. Which, depending on the game, can look fine. It's not a bad way of doing things. It's very cheap, computationally speaking. It's just like a little early out on the pixel rendering pipeline. That's all it is. But yeah, that's a lot of like old fog effects used to be done using that hardware. A lot of games really are just like creative uses of math in weird ways. That's all. It's math nerds doing funny things with hardware. Oh. That reminds me of another thing. So back in the day, relatively speaking, a lot of old game engines used to do their camera math on something called the Matrix. Yeah, it's like the movie The Matrix. It's a set of 16 numbers or 9 numbers, depending if it's 3D or 4 or 2D. Usually 60 numbers even if it's 2D, but anyways. And you do certain math operations against another 16 set of numbers. Do certain effects like rotation, pitch, yaw, move around, scale in, scale out. You have different math operations for all those different effects, right? And the way the math had to be done had an edge case with a lot of hardware where as you approach looking straight up, the multiplication of or the addition of including that like rotation got into like effectively an infinite loop, and the camera will get stuck looking up. It has a name. It's called the gimbal lock. So a lot of old game engines would have like input limitations where you can't look straight up, almost up, but not quite straight up, to prevent the gimbal lock. That's it. If you ever wonder why an old game wouldn't let you look straight up, yep, 89.99, something like that. Depends on the engine and whoever worked on it. But it wouldn't be able to get 100%, 90%, 90 degrees up. Because of that. Since then, like new math was invented called quaternions. New math was used where the camera was represented with 4 numbers instead of 16. It's really actually more performant anyways. But it doesn't, the math on that doesn't have the same effect. It's not a matter of the controller, it's that the engine is trying to figure out how the camera's looking up and gets stuck in a loop. And it's a soft lock or a hard lock at that point. Yeah, the controller only adjusts the input of the camera. The camera is like, I want to look straight up, and it can't quite get there. If there's a Wikipedia article for the gimbal lock if you want to see it more in detail. But that's why. That's why like games in the 90s, maybe early 2000s wouldn't let you look straight up, depending on the engine. Little shit like you find like this when you make games is just endlessly amusing to me. Pretty much, and only in that one direction. Like left, right, down were all fine. Just up was a problem because no, it wasn't an infinite loop. It was a divide by 0. That's what it was. I don't want that. Yeah, I don't think it was necessarily a crash, depending on how it was handled, but it couldn't recover. Essentially, was the point. It's tilted too far down. So I'll move this out of the way. Hey, Garbage Day. Thank you for the bits. Room indeed.
Nice.
Wow. Bot's coming out aggressive today, isn't it? Trying to collect the handheld consoles now? That's an endeavor. Diesel, oil. Up off the water I spilled out earlier. Oil can use the topping off. Ah. Okay, anything else in here worth a damn? Probably not. I was asleep in here. How you doing, Harry? The bot has a plan, Harry. Don't you worry. Oh, Harry. Thank you. I thought you'd be happy about that. Got Nintendo OG Color Pocket Advance, PSP OG Go and Vita, Sega Game Gear, Steam Deck, has Switch but seems to have disappeared. There's another one. That's like a staff shirt, effectively. So, Debugger, do you have a Virtual Boy yet? Technically, that's a portable console. I don't think you want it though. Pocket and color. I don't remember. Maybe form factor and maybe some like hardware improvements underneath the hood or backwards compatible. I remember playing on the Virtual Boy and searing my retinas on that. I mean, you can get it for completeness, but I would not recommend it otherwise. It has like 19 games to its name. It was very intolerable. It was painful, in fact. It was a terrible system. Punchio Toaster, that's horrible. Toaster's a lovely person. Delightful, in fact. What other like weird portable consoles are there? Oh, there's the N-Gage, which is technically a phone too. There's another one that was like a phone console hybrid. Nothing for that whole so fair. But yeah, Harry, if you want the same like merch or different merch, but you already found the link, didn't you? Right? If not, it's under. It was like a comment to or a reply to the Twitter post I retweeted a while back. Sega Nomad. I'm not familiar with that one. I know that GameCube could be made portable, but it was not natively portable. There was like third-party accessories that you put like a battery pack and a tiny screen on top. Huh. Interesting. I know there's like some emulating hardware out there that would not be a good backup if you couldn't find it. How we doing? 860. Nice. Oh, no, 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 no. Land, 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 land. Land, please. Land, please. Land, please. Oh, God. Oh, God. We lost the side mirrors. We lost the hood. Okay. How bad is it? Okay, not terrible, not terrible. No, they didn't. They had a hard time competing with Nintendo. Thank you. It's so steep here. Okay. Well, there's a side mirror and a hood and a hubcap. I lose. Oh, that's a headlight. Oh, this is a headlight. Handy. And this is this mirror. Yep. Can I spot the other one easily? Yep, there it is. Here are you. I tried to slow down the whole way down and... Ow. There we go. Car was not having it. That's fine. We lost that thingy, but that's somewhere. Lost the radio. Also don't care. Yeah. Okay. We have our mirrors. We have our tires. We have our headlights. All the parts that matter, really. And we got our tunes. Our tunes are better than radio even in my car. Yeah. I think the music in this game is copyright free. That's what White was saying the other day. I rather not have to deal with it on YouTube, where even then it's funky. Also, I like my playlist. I spent a lot of time crafting it. Still streaming to YouTube and getting a strike means it's permanently private and you can't even download it. I haven't had that. I haven't had a strike, so I wouldn't know. I do use Restream.io, and I've gotten like content ID matches, and I either mute part of the VOD, I'll remove the audio sometimes when the YouTube feature works, or contest it, depending on what it is. Yeah, you can re-download it if you restream it too. Like it's just a regular video that happened to be a live stream. You just can't do it publicly under like Twitch's exclusivity clause. Yeah, it is. Like I haven't gotten a strike. I've only gotten like content ID matches. Hey Pants, how you doing? Welcome in. Yeah, Landfest got hit due to one of the subsidiaries being dumb, and he said he's not going to be showing it because it was strictly private limited even further. Huh. Yeah, strike is... I can't opine on that. I don't have experience with it. I've gotten like content ID matches on Twitch where you can contest there, and so far that's been successful for me. And on YouTube, mute the audio completely, mute the offending audio, or contest were options. See, no, like I've had matches on streams through Restream.io, and I can still delete them, download things, make them public, and it's fine. I can't monetize it, depending on what the matcher says, right? Okay, yeah. Like depending on how big of the offense was, like the time of the video, how much time was dedicated to the overlap, there's, you know, limiting things you can do. Yeah, there's a few things you can do. None of them are great, but like I run into that all the time. Like every time I play Resi 6 with Sari, the opening sequence always gets content ID matched with Sega's video because it's the same fucking cutscene. That's fair, Pants. You could, I mean, using it for a long-term storage of VODs is perfectly fair. That's half the reason why I'm doing it, as I'm also just making it public in case anyone wants to watch them for whatever reason. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Here I go again. Come on, please land okay. Okay, that could have been a lot worse. That could have been a whole lot worse. Like, I heard that has like no damage, right? Just some cactus. I'll put a cactus any day. Somebody's muted in Russia. Oh yeah. A lot of things are muted in Russia now because the sanctions. Oh, that's backwards. I'm gonna go that away. Yeah, content ID, even on Twitch or YouTube, is not in a great state. It's better, but not great. Yeah. I do the bare minimum where I'll fill out like a template description of like, it's a VOD, here's my socials, here's like artist credit for all the branding stuff that Emmy did. Title's usually the title of the stream. I'll tag the game, and that's about it. I don't do like the actual like YouTube tags. They're all default template ones. I don't put any effort to it. I don't put any effort into the title or the description beyond all that. I don't do chapters, no. I don't know if you can do chapters on live streams. I'd have to look. I'm probably not going to bother with it anyways because it's effort, and my VODs are bare basement bottom effort. I might be able to, I just don't know. I put a tiny amount of effort into shorts, but I post them on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram sometimes, Twitter even fewer times, and Fresh Cut because it's another place that has game clips. It's super easy pants, and there's like built-in integration to OBS already. Like there's no reason not to, beyond not wanting to. It's all good. I mean, it's still a hobby, so you work on it as much as you want to work on it. Oh yeah, that's a mood. That's a huge mood for sure. I literally ported all my things I need to do for stream into a project management software to keep track of everything because my brain was getting too overloaded with it. Speaking of which, I need to re-enable the Discord integration on. So I want to read your comment, Pants. I'm not much busier than I've been for a while, but brain is full. There's 1,000,001 reasons why people get overloaded, and it's all valid. My brain has been fried the past like 2 weeks. Hey Jojo, how you doing?
Hello.
Well, you had a long ass stream. I'm surprised you're not sleeping already. What was that, like 21, 22 hours? Something ridiculous like that. Only slept like 5, so that's fair. I mean, do whatever you think is right. Like I've done like long streams too, but how you do it so regularly is always impressive. Another A6 on Sunday. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the game. I mean, it's very on brand. So, and there's definitely seems to be like a good amount of chat in those streams. So that's good too. Like there was like that one person I saw that you mentioned earlier about being like a minor spoiler asshole kind of person, but for a new game I was expecting a lot worse, to be honest. That'd be cool. I mean, that'd be, you know, something. That'd be an achievement and a half for sure. Yep, I've been watching you play it. I've seen some of Dodo play it. And I was speaking on Karos' stream while he was playing it, and Looks like a really fun game. I've been so out of the loop on Zelda for so long. I'm glad you did the recap video, because like I played Link to the Past, the original Zelda on the NES, and a little bit of Majora's Mask. I 100%ed Ocarina of Time, and I think I 100% Link to the Past, and that's about it. Majora's Mask was so not my thing that I haven't played a Zelda game since. I just was not a huge fan of like the time mechanic thing. I get why other people like it. That's perfectly fine. That's a big ass fuel tank. Yeah. But there's a part of me that wants to get back to it. And if there's one thing I went back with, it'd be either Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. I have a Switch. It's literally collecting dust. Yeah. I think I've been Ocarina of Time once or twice. It's one of those I love watching speedruns of for that reason, because it's my favorite. But I should get in and play Breath of the Wild, because it is a very much Skyrim-esque, and similar reasons for Tears of the Kingdom. It looks like I have a Switch. There's zero reason not to, beyond just inertia, I guess. Yeah, I actually inherited Siri's old Switch, so I bought them. I think it was a Christmas or a birthday present. I can't remember. The Animal Crossing Special Edition Switch, because they like the colors of it. It'd be good to find, Debug. Yeah, just like any like open world game like that, it's non-linear. It just takes a while to get immersed into. Same thing with Skyrim. Same thing with Witcher 3. It takes a while to get invested. Yeah. I'm sure if I push myself to get into like a few days worth of work, or a few days worth of game time into it, I would stick with it. It's just that initial get going, because at least for me, that phase in the game where you're very underpowered because you're starting out is just still unenjoyable, I guess, for me. But once you get like a decent way in and you're strong enough to like handle most enemies pretty trivially, it's like, oh, and then you're having fun having the power trip and you're enjoying the story and the environment and the universe. But up to then, it's kind of a slog. I have loved The Witcher 3 when I played it last year. That was fun. That's fair. Yeah, it's a very subjective thing. I definitely like the beginning of those games for their story, usually, if it's a good story. Like I liked Cyberpunk for the way the story started out. It had a really good setup for the premise. Fair. I need to play Control. It's on the game on my to-do list. My fucking to-do list is way too long. Probably. That wouldn't surprise me, Ducky. I had a few sizable raids during The Witcher 3. The community there is really nice. You're good, JoJo. Do what you need to do. I enjoy you lurking or doing whatever. It's all good. So I want to do Control and I want to do Alan Wake. I want to do like that, get into that universe. I haven't given it a fair shake, and I need to. And Alan Wake I know is going to be gameplay wise a little rough, but I like the idea of the story. Like, do Alan Wake this year. I never beat it in 2015 when you first played it. I know Sari played it recently, and they told me that the gameplay was a little rough, but the story was worth it. Yeah, that's what I was told. I don't know. I want to play it because I know it's one of Sari's favorite games, and I want to nerd out with them on it. All reasons. That's mine. Uh, 2 liters of gas. Come with me. Am I doing that well on gas? Holy crap. Yeehaw. Are you doing like a full rebuild, Jojo, or are you just upgrading like some parts like RAM and GPU? Surprisingly efficient, yeah. I thought the muscle car engine was worse than this, but apparently not. The new radiator seems to be held in full rebuild, but keeping all your storage. That makes sense. That we don't have to reset up like OBS and all your stuff for the dual PC setup. Hopefully, right? But no, you and Nick did a whole lot of work to get that working the way you like it. I think Nick does have like a VM server of some sort. I know he has a Flex server somewhere. But network storage only works in very select scenarios when, like in that case, where performance is less of a concern. Like you're never gonna beat like local storage, PCI Express, or NVMe storage. That's gonna be always the most performant. Even SATA locally is pretty good. True. I was running a game installs and storage over the internet. Got 600 megs, which is good for games, but that load all up front, yeah. Like, see, like 3 jobs ago, there was a department in the data center just for storage, and all they do is manage and maintain and upgrade flash NAND cluster arrays, which is a little bit more performant than SSDs. And the reason why it was able to match like local storage is because it had a lot of replication of data, so you had very simultaneous reads. Oh, it was way more than 100 gig. I think it was like 500 gig and like dual or triplex on the back end. It was insanely insane. It was just a lot of expensive hardware. Well, hopefully you get what you want, Jojo, and you can eliminate some of the frustrations. And if there's anything I can do to help, feel free to ask, of course. I don't know Mix It Up though, so I'm probably have limited value on that. Yeah. And my Lumia experience is very minimal. I do like one thing in Lumia. This is a bounce between for the lights, that's it. Nothing special. If it works for you. I just know like myself and a few other people, like the connection between Lumia and Twitch has been atrocious the past few versions. And I just don't trust it for that. Yeah, that's fair. At this point, I'm mainly running things to either StreamerBot or Stream Elements. And I have a few things in WiseBot, and I'm trying to look into using more Nightbot and FossaBot. But that's still early. I want to have more stuff in the cloud too, just in case. Yeah. I use StreamerBot for that purpose. Right now, like, my Lumia is not even connected to Twitch at all. But whatever works for you, I hope you find happiness and at least less frustration in it. It was funny when Nick and I were talking about bots. A lot of the stuff he did for like the high train things and whatnot, StreamerBot does like somewhat out of the box to help make it easier. So for what it's worth, why am I always peddling that bot? I just like it so much. I don't know. The UI is atrocious. No question. It is atrocious. It is the weakest point of the bot. No doubt. I doubt the UI is going to be worked on anytime soon, Jojo. So, that's fair. You know, that's why preferences are a thing and all that. That's true. That is true. Mix-Up can do quite a lot of things. Is that because it also is like updates or saves all like the history and implications of the command? Because you have like 6 years worth of like command usage on some of them. Oh. Yeah. We did find gold. We're not taking gold. We're not doing that thing. I'm just looking to see if there's anything useful in here. There really isn't. It is local. There is like some backend functionality for like webhooks. I haven't played around with much, but it looks like it's interesting. It's one of the reasons why I have Mix-Up installed, because I want to learn more about that. I think that's one thing StreamerBot doesn't have full flexibility on quite yet. It has some webhooks, but not many, and Mix-Up could do custom ones. Okay, nothing here worth a damn. What's here? There's oil. Yeah. Mix It Up, FireBot, StreamerBot. Are the major ones that I know of, they're all local. think there's one more I'm forgetting, but I can't remember. Oh, Ankbot, which is like Streamlabs' bot. Which it's Streamlabs, so that. I'll leave it at that. What was that in the front of the car? What? Bumper? What about the bumper? It's a radiator fan. Like I said, physics are just a suggestion in this game. Yeah, it's a fan. Tied to a serpentine belt that connects to nothing. We don't have that in your car, Ducky? Ah, Brock. Oh, there's also cruise control, but I don't know if that's like a full bot. That's just like a OPS like scripting framework. I know Reliever uses it and a few other people, but it's not as powerful or flexible. You would think so, Debug, but I think most people are of extinct in this world, so the funding for the dot is kind of withered away. I don't tell you, Ducky, it's a very common thing, especially out here in the middle of nowhere. Audio save technically works when you're not, like, there's a setting whether or not you want it in while you're driving. I have that on to where it won't autosave while I'm driving, because you don't want to be caught in a weird edge case or cause it to crash. But once you get out of a car, you will get autosaves. And you're just walking around kind of thing. I don't think there's rockets in this world, Ducky. And yeah, the long drive, it's an option. I think that's under... I forget where it is. Yeah, disable in car. Autosave disable in car. Yeah. Well, Linus Tech Types made a really good point about resolution in games. That for most hardware and most use cases, 2K is a really good sweet spot, depending on the distance you are from your monitor. And for me, this is a really good sweet spot. And 4K is definitely nice. It really is, especially when you're further away. But your GPU has to work so much harder to push those pixels out, especially at a high frame rate, that it's in a lot of cases not worth it. You're making a huge performance sacrifice just for extra pixels that don't have as much of an impact versus like the jump between 1080p and 2K. It's a subjective thing, obviously. It just that originally spoke to me, so I have two 2K monitors here, and then I have a 1080p leftover over here just for miscellaneous crap. At some point, I'd like to fit a fourth monitor in this mess, but I don't know where. I have so many things mounted to my desk, it's a nightmare. And I have the lights up here, my camera there, my microphone here, tablet here, Stream Deck here, keyboard and mouse here, just everything's taken care of. Oh yeah, Pants, I've seen your setup. You have the same kind of same pain points. Like Sarah complains about their desk being small, yet they have 4 monitors because they have another one up top, but they don't have to deal with lights as much, so kind of makes sense. Yep, everything is mounted. Even my headphone rests are mounted. I have one over here for my wireless headphones, one for my Sennheisers here, and then I have another one on the side for these guys to wrap around. I'm not using them. The actual like tower on my PC is actually on another like surface. I think I could stand in this desk. I just haven't tested the cord lengths and a few things in a while, so I'm leery into doing that. Definitely would recommend that, Pants. For no other reason, it's good to remove like some of the ambient noise. Now you're just flexing, Debug. You're just flexing. I don't blame you. I would flex too. Oh, true, yeah. The cabling from this monitor all the way to the tower over there is a mess. But whatever works. Between sits that is. Ah, yeah. Yeah, I think I found a leftover or secondhand edge table like next to your bed you'd usually have. It's like a nice wooden one, kind of. Like it's scratched to hell, but I don't care. Just needs to hold up my desktop. So that's all it does. I also have my battery pack on it too. My my UPS, main one actually. I have 3 UPSs in this room alone. I have the big one for the tower and the monitors. I have the second one for some of the other monitors and all the peripherals I need battery backup. And I have a small one just for the mesh router on the other side of the room. Because I've lost power in this apartment and midstream and be able to raid out. That was the goal of all that work. Is that I can lose power and close out a stream gracefully. And what's this? Oil. It works. I don't know if it's a nice solution, but it works. The modem and mesh router that broadcasts the signal is in the living room closet. That has its own mini UPS. Sari's tower has a UPS the same as mine. And they also have like the smaller UPS for like their monitors and peripherals. So the important technology of the apartment are all battery backup. And we get like 30 minutes of runtime on that. So it's been handy. Yeah, it's like I think like 2 months into living here, the fuse for the whole unit blew, or the circuit breaker blew. So we called the super, the property manager, like, we don't have any power. We're the only unit that doesn't have power. And like the next day, they replaced the circuit breaker. But I was without power for like half a day or a day and a half. Yep. I think the circuit breaker just died. I don't think we weren't drawing that much. We're drawing more now and have no problems. So I'm happy to say that my apartment unit has the newest, or probably one of the newest circuit breakers in the building. So that. I went to like our in-unit one and flipped it all back and forth, and everything was fine. Yeah, probably want those on backup, but that's less concerning just because like you just lose internet at that point, which is not the worst thing in the world, right? Jesus Christ, Debug, I can imagine. How close are we? We're getting there. That was quite interesting. Yeah. So, as some of you probably might know, I grew up in Southern California. And that was during the era when California had the energy crisis after Enron went away. And we had to suffer through rolling blackouts for months on end. I think just living without power is like a natural thing that I could just handle now. It's kind of weird. Like I have like several portable phone chargers. They're all charged up and ready to go just in case. Yes and no, Debug. Yes, and that they're very unique in terms of energy usage, knowing that the regulation levels are completely different. Kaiso is very well regulated. ERCOT is not. Could not be more polar opposite on that regard. Yeah. I'm not gonna stop. I have plenty of gas. Yep. Yep. ERCOT is terrible. There we go. We saved that one really well. Really had that when we grew up. I was nearly in the middle of nowhere as far as the power grid was concerned. Yeah. I just remember like, so a few lifetimes ago, I was working in the industry where I was writing software for energy producers. On the continent, a little bit internationally, a little bit in Europe. So the software I wrote was helping plant managers like wind farms, solar farms, hydroelectric dams, coal plants, combined cycle plants, the works. Monitor, manage, schedule, report their power that they generated for the grid. And a lot of that is integrated with the energy markets, which are typically ISOs, independent system operators. PGM is one, NYISO for New York, NEISO for the rest of New England, MISO for most of the Midwest, SPP for Southern Power Pool, FPNL for Florida, ISO is California. There's a few other ones I'm missing, but that's the major ones I remember. And ERCOT, the Energy Reliability Council of Texas. And I work with all those companies for maintaining power reliability and efficacy. ERCOT's the worst. Their back end is terrible. Like just everything they do is backwards. Like Texas has to be like that one odd one out. It's like, oh, we'll have our own name, our own naming system. We're gonna be blah 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 blah, and we're not gonna connect to the main grid. The cross connects between the east and west main grids. And of course, like the Texas grid just sucks. Has the worst pricing and it's the worst reliability. Nope. Well, some in the northern part of Texas does peer with the western grid. That's it. Yeah, that only works till like, was it 2 winters ago when a lot of people died because it failed. But as it's so broken, I can rant for hours on it. I hate it. Yeah. I think, yeah, some little bit of eastern Texas integrates with the eastern grid, and some of the northwestern part of Texas integrates with the western grid, but the vast majority of the state's on its own grid that falls over when you sneeze. I'm in the city this morning, got stuck in a hotel for a week and a half and never had my op checks. Oof. Well, hopefully you're okay and everything. That's what's important. That's good. I'm glad there was no ill effects or anything like that. That's the last thing we want, right? What do we got in here? 10th liter gas, not even worth it. Oh, well, this stupid stuff. There's nothing here. Alright. That was a waste of time. Yes, there were some AK rifles in this game, but I'm running on peaceful, so there's no need to grab one. Yeah, there's rabbits, but they don't aggro. At least I haven't seen one aggro. There's no like zombie people either, so yeah. I didn't want to bother with maintaining even more inventory stuff. Like I want to focus on like just fluids, making progress. There are some zombie people, yes, that are all very jaundiced and wearing overalls. But I don't know. They fell out of The Simpsons or something. I haven't seen any other people that are not jaundiced and overalled, so I'm assuming they're all like that until I see otherwise.
Hello.
Hey, Visible Monkey, welcome in. I've been able to bust crates with crowbars. Have you tried that? But welcome in. Hope you're having a great time zone. How are you? As far as we know, Debug, there's no other humans besides myself and Mom in this universe. And we're not even sure about Mom yet. That's one of the reasons why we're rushing there to get to see, you know? The only thing I think of, Invisible Monkey, is that one way to break crates is to like lift them up and like let them fall from a decent amount of height with enough velocity. That seems to break them as well, but crowbars are so reliable, that's what I go with. And it's just one item of inventory, it's not that bad. Plus you get to feel like Gordon Freeman for a minute. That's kind of cool. I think it's cool. It is annoying. That's why I go with crowbars. Far more reliable, far easier in my opinion. I'm not stopping there. Keep going. Oh no, downhill slope. This is gonna be fun. I think. I was surmised that if you ran them into them with your car, it would break too, but then you're, you know, having to put back your car together every single time, so that's probably even more annoying. That could have been a lot worse. I'll take it. Just got a sticker shock from the email. Guess I shouldn't be surprised that prepackaged production gear is expensive, but 7,500 for 4,000 or 4,000 system is way too high. Maybe, yeah. It all depends on like the use case and what, you know, how much money that hardware might make for you, you know? Like I once saw like the price tag for the storage clusters that we used to buy for back testing back 4 jobs ago. And we bought like usually a petabyte and change either every quarter or every half year. A petabyte of flash storage. It is a ton of space. So much so that the data center had to have new steel I-beams put in to reinforce the floor to hold it up. Yep, probably easily in the millions, yeah. But it helped run the whole business, so it was a pretty easy write-off at that point. Yeah. I don't know if we needed to have it, but the quants said regularly that having tick level historical data going back, I think at that point, like 15, 20 years of like all the exchanges was pretty invaluable to them. Oh, that's a good game. Is that out yet? So Sari and I think Don Derry, we all played the beta when I was circling around, and it was fun. It was like a really fun game. Definitely had a lot of like DNA shared with Destiny. You're not wrong, Debo. I forget the company that did the flash storage. Yeah, it was a very short beta. It was like 2 weeks. Yeah, I like this weird name with the flash, because it's basically data center flash memory that you can buy new blocks of it, and every new generation was more and more dense. But yeah, tick level data, which is, for those who are not aware, picosecond level financial market data stretching back years and years and years for multiple big exchanges, like equity and option exchanges. So it's a lot of data all at once. Yep, because each day's worth of data for like one exchange, I think, was usually around a few hundred terabytes, or a few dozen terabytes. Because each like recording box was like dual CPU stuck onto like a massive, like oversized motherboard with all NAND flash PCI Express buses into one huge RAID array to get the right throughput. And another department, not mine, wrote custom software that basically took a kernel bypass from the network interface to the storage, bypassing all the rest of the hardware. It's like Wireshark on crack, effectively. Like no CPU involved, no kernel involved. Just recommended all that part of the hardware. Maybe, I don't know. Again, I didn't work on that. Crowbar? 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 Oil. Oil. Water. Go bang! Oh well, nothing here. It is fine. Like, we still have a good amount of gas, right? Yeah, we're still basically full. Yep. So that was there. That was per exchange, and so there's what? 5 NYSE variations and like 4 NASDAQ variations of equity markets in the US, and 16 or 17 option exchanges, which are derivatives on top of those, plus ICE, plus CME, which have like 3 or 4-ish exchanges apiece. So yeah, several hundred terabytes a day worth of data recorded. Never deleted. There were tape backups sent to Iron Mountain, though. I think they did the math, and to restore that data, it would take nonstop reading and writing to the cluster for 2 years. Maybe 3 years by now. Of all the tape backups. So yeah, the offsite backup is not super viable, so hopefully that data center never falls apart. It does, but I think it's just there as a just in case, you know, worst case scenario potentiality. True. But at the rate we were buying new storage and flush and rotating it in, that was not a concern. Pretty much all the racks, like the actual host machines, were replaced every 2 years. The whole data center, just to keep up with the latest hardware. Like various teams had like older versions, but like basically within a 2-year cycle, everything was replaced. Yeah. Company made a lot of money spent on infrastructure. They all went back to Dell. It was like and then Dell would refurbish it and sell it to other people. I asked. I wanted like a few like small racks just to play around with, because like I think it's a full-on buy, because that way they can do what they want with it. There's no like restrictions. But they still return and get a credit, I think. I would bet money there was no restriction that got in the way of the company. They had that much pull. Fair. Now these are mostly just for like the standard like 1U, 2U rack machines, just for like raw CPU hosting. But yeah, just chassis servers, just boring shit like that. Yep, that's exactly what it was. It was a shit ton of compute for all the flash. In fact, all the flash wasn't fast enough for some of the more intensive cases. There was 2 sets of clusters that were just RAM banks. For the more intense studies that the quants would run, because the I/O of the flash was not fast enough. I don't know how much that was, but it wasn't near like the cold storage of the flash. And I appreciate the offer. I just don't have much use for any real compute besides like sticking around like a Windows service or something. Nothing pragmatic right now, at least. If that ever changes, I will, you know, more than happy to reach out. I just, what little I do, my desktop does a lot of the hosting fine. I'm not gonna fuck with BSD. There's so many weird packages of that distro. I'd probably run like some fork of Ubuntu. BSD is BSD. It's whatever. There's not my call of fame, but I remember like some Bell engineers calling them like the redhead stepchild of the Linux community. Oh, it's stable. They're just like the packages are weird. Well, I'm gonna sleep like this. Yeah, I'm not criticizing their stability at all. No, it's just the packages. That's all. Did I lose anything? Side mirror, headlights. I'd venture a guess. I know there have a lot of utilities only on BSD for network stuff. But no, like the things I have fucks with the most in terms of Linux is Ubuntu variants, like various distros of Ubuntu, Debian, Mint a little bit, SUSE, OpenSUSE. There's the enterprise version which I do a lot of with, which is less. Forgetting something. A little bit of Kali, but not much. Ubuntu and like Debian are just like so like utilitarian. Like they're stable. They have a shit ton of like support for them. Like everyone makes packages for them. Every repo has Debian packages. Yeah, it just does a lot of things, and the convenience of just doing like one line for everything. I'm fine with it. I should give Arc a better try, just haven't bothered because there's no reason to. Like, there's not nothing Arc offers me that I need because I don't do anything deep down on Linux. I need to run a Python script somewhere or a shell script somewhere. I'll throw it on a Linux VM. There, leave it alone for 5 bajillion years because it never freaking shuts down. Oh, right. There was a custom kernel compiled for the BeagleBone I worked with for a bit. It was still like 4.3 kernel, and it's still standard Linux. They just had like custom drivers written by Texas Instruments. Docker is nice. So I do have one server I rent for file hosting purposes, and it's running in a Docker container in France. Yeah. It was a while ago. I've been running software for a long time. Hey, Angie. Welcome in, Angie Maggie. How you doing?
Hello.
Yeah. How you been? That was weird. How you doing? I'm hanging in there. Life has also been a little on the strange side. Work has been weird because I'm doing client work. Client work is stupid because they can't make up what they want, and they tell me last minute and they expect it to be done yesterday. It's like, well, I'm just gonna work at my own pace. Fuck you. You wanna be frantic about it? I'll bill you by the hour. It's fine. You can pay me all you want. So that's, a thing that I'm putting up with. Yeah. And what's even worse, this client is in London. So there was like 5 hours of workday that are just gone immediately because there's only like 3 hours of overlap. What kind of tools, Debug? Because I might be able to help potentially, slightly, very minorly, maybe. So that's a thing. I've been, I don't know, like this past week for home stuff, like last weekend up through a lot of this week, I got into like a groove of productivity. And like I did a shit ton of cleaning. I renewed my car's registration. I voted for the primaries. Did grocery shopping. A bunch of stuff. XML parsing stuff, they're moving to a new tool and in the process of broken the existing bundle. Parser so I no longer displays things usually. Oh. Well, if you need an XML parser to display things, I can whip that together in like a day. You just tell me what XML to do. You just renewed your card tonight? Oh, nice. High five. Good job. Yeah, XML parsing is dirt simple. I know like 4 ways of doing it. 1 in Python and 3 in C#. You can legally drive your pursuit for another year. So, I've finally been in this state long enough to where I get 2 years of renewal. Okay, Python, yeah, it's fine. I'm somewhat capable. Not shite in Python, especially back-end stuff. I haven't worked much with Python's front-end stuff, though, admittedly. Yeah, my state is really weird, where you got 2 years on new cars, new vehicles sold, and once you're in the state long enough, you get 2 years of renewal. But if you're recently moved into the state, you can only renew it a year at a time. Also, I'm busy. Also, outside's no place to be. Mood, very big mood on that. I think the pandemic has given me agoraphobia. Call it System Borg. Oh, what an apt name. It should be auto-approving after a few minutes. You have people that don't renew for years and people please ticket some don't. It should auto approve. What did you invoke, Angie? I can check in the Discord. I have it also logged. Yeah, I don't see anything coming in the moderation queue. I can just turn off moderation. Fuck it. Yeah, I had to wait for moderation 2 minutes, so should approve right after. Well, let me just disable that. Oh, but now I want that on. I'm gonna text the message. I don't see anything in auto mod, so that's not it. Maybe I need to refresh the overlay. That's also very possible. I was having some weird stuff earlier. Where's Tangia? Tangia, where are you? I have fixed so much shit. Fresh cache. That's not it. I'll check the moderation queue for myself. Yeah, I don't see any in the queue, Angie. Sorry. Okay, I see in the queue. I'll just manually approve it.
Hey chat, what's up? It's your boy Dice. Here with that UU you know you need. We got UU for days. UU in the house. UU in chat. Let's go. Thanks for attending my UU talk.
My UU talk? I like that. That's good. That's cute. Yeah, it's set to where it would wait 2 minutes for moderation if like a mod's available and they can look at it if they want to, fine. But after 2 minutes it should auto approve it because I couldn't be arsed. How it should be behaving. Tangi might be being stupid, so if so, apologies. Everything else should be like unmoderated because they're just, you know, basic overlay stuff. We're almost up to 1,000 kilometers, chat. Ben, I just wanted to give you a squeeze before bed. Oh, I appreciate it, Angie. I always like having you swing by. You may have used them all. You didn't have a name change anytime recently, so I don't think that's that or anything like that. What else you need to show your identity? Oh, if it's a Twitch extension, it means that you have to associate your Twitch account with the extension backend data, so they know you're you, and if you use your bits, who to charge the bits to and stuff like that. That's all. Just like Stickers does and Stream Alerts or Sound Alerts, Blurb, Tangia, hundreds of other extensions do this if they have a bit economy with them. You did go ham. It was fun though. It's so funny that like the flashbang queuing up behavior I knew about, but I didn't anticipate would be so popular during hype trains. I'm glad, you know, if y'all enjoy it. It may need a refresh after that debug. I don't know. Sometimes those are weird. I'm glad y'all like it. I always feel a good sense of accomplishment when I actually, you know, make something people really enjoy. That's what, you know, I'm trying to do here, amongst other things. Alright, let's see if we can look for gas here. Ah, fuck! Why, Angie? Why? Why have you chosen violence? Oh, there's the autosave already. What's that?
All this TTS trouble interrupting my drive time. I just want to find more fuel and oil.
Thank you, Debug. There's no fuel or oil here or anything. Well, humbug. Where's my car? Oh, there's my car. I appreciate debugging. You didn't have to do that, but thank you. Understandable. Like, the whole economy's in a bad state the past like 6 months, maybe a year at this point. Fully understandable, and that's why I really appreciate it. Slow down a bit. There we go. That's better. Oh, I did set up the Tangia web page too, so I know that's what something Nina was looking for when she came in at that raid the other day. So Exclamation Tangia should work, and it should have a web page set up for all that. Besides the extension, of course. But I know some people like doing that. And I also put it behind a vanity URL because that's me. Oh, balls. Yeah, I put on the e-brake just to keep it under control. I know, Tex, welcome in. This game makes me feel pregnant in a good way. Cool. I don't know what pregnant in a good way means, but cool. I'm glad you derived some enjoyment out of it. But welcome in. You're having a good time zone. How are you? I think I've got most things behind vanity rails at this point. I think I might have a few things to still add. When I would come out of the Eisenhower Tower west of Divide in Colorado, I would frequently leave this car in neutral and pass the speed limit. Now, there was a time when I was very young. My mother and I went up to the mountains for some reason. I don't remember. Outside the city I grew up, one of the cities I grew up in, especially in one of the valleys in Southern California. So within like 3 hours or 2 hours of drive, you get to like mountaintops with snow and everything year round. And one of the times we were up there, we were in the minivan, and the serpentine belt snaps. And so that controlled like the radiator, the alternator, and a few other, not the alternator, a few other things that are sort of secondary to the engine. Mainly the radiator pump and fan. So we cruised down the whole mountain in neutral in the minivan. We had to pull over a few times to refill it because it was boiling over the water. Remember we had to run the motor a little bit to get up like a uphill part. But yeah, we got down most of the hill till we got to a cell phone signal and called AAA. And this is a serpentine belt. It's not the end of the world. Just funny we were able to do that. Yep. That van still ran for like several years after that, so it wasn't like any major permanent damage happened. Cargo trailer, nothing else. Blah. Oh yeah, that's why it was like run it for a little bit just for uphill parts and neutral the rest of the way, and that got us home. Yeah, that makes sense. I still have an 8 or 10 terabyte external spinner and like a 6 or 8 internal spinner just for like larger storage stuff. That's pretty noisy though. SCSI drives are so noisy. Like put them in a closet and forget they exist. Yeah. I don't know why they run so hot. Funny, Sass has so many meanings. SAS. It's a Fortran-like math modeling language that I know some developers run with for various reasons. And it also stands for Slot Accounting System, which is the protocol backend for all your slot machines. So when you gamble in Vegas, how much money you spend and when and where and what you bet and all that stuff is reported through that. Such an overloaded acronym. I don't know why. It's funny. And it's also another reason why Konami is the worst. Because their implementation of SAS is terrible. And it's bad, and they should feel bad. Ah, fuck balls. Thank you, Angie. I forgot it was there for a minute. Night night. Sleep well, Angie. It's good to have you. Hope you have a good night. I'll see you around as always. How we doing? So close to 1K. So close to 1K. There we go. Oh. Alright, now that we landed okay, let me look at this link. Oh yeah, those are pretty decent. You have to make sure you have the USB bandwidth for it. I'm really distractible, T-Buck, I'm sorry. Especially when it comes to technology and gizmos and gadgets. Yeah, those external NVMe enclosures are pretty good. The only thing you have to worry about is like your USB bandwidth for it. Nice. I know some there's some like things like that where just an enclosure and you put your own USB like M.2s in there. Oh, it's network. Okay, so you just have to worry about Ethernet bandwidth, which is fine. Or Wi-Fi. Modern Wi-Fi is also fine. Yeah, you're good. You run them in a RAID array or just like one volume it? 2.5, which is nearly fast enough to saturate the disk. No. Nah, you're good. Almost. Almost is the key word. And there's more reasons to run in Raid 1 besides just backup purposes, too. There's a really good read performance boost for it, too. Depending on the controller software or hardware. Oil. A little bit of gas. Autosave. That's why a lot of the raid arrays that we were working with were Raid 1. Less so because of the backups. More so because of the read performance was so good. Yeah, Raid 10, which I think is like 2 5s, right? I remember, it's been a while. Or close to that. Right. There's so many arrangements now. Stripe mirror, right, okay. Whenever I did like raid clusters at home, it was always Raid 5 because it was a good balance between like redundancy and capacity and performance. But it's also kind of expensive because you need a lot of pieces for it. You can't just do it with 2. I think you need a minimum of 4. At least 3 though. ZFS has been kicking ass taking names these days. There are so many like nice features and functionality built into the file system now. Now the ultimate question is, can you expose that file system as a Samba mount or an NFS mount? That we have easy access to it, you know? I'm not familiar enough with the online rebuilding of ZFS to say one way or another. Well, there you go. Yeah, any like other machine on the network could just do like an auto mount, point to that NFS mount, and Samba is pointed to it and it works. Okay. Yeah. I've read a little bit about ZFS, I just haven't worked much with it. I've never seen like when there's like change logs and there's new features coming to it, like damn, that's so nice. Finding out like they had built-in like compression on write kind of things, or like the ARC memory buffers. All cool stuff. That's still pretty safe. Through a mirror, like the odds of all 3 dying at once, not that high. So I watched like Alliance's build series of one of his servers where he had L3 ARC, where it was SSDs running through DDR buses, SSDs mounted through PCI Express, and then the actual flash arrays, or not, was it NVMe for the rest of the storage, or was it streaming rest? One of the two, for the rest of the volume. But just massive ARC volumes. It was so bananas. It makes me envious when you have that kind of like willy-nilly budget. Honestly, because arc, another 180 L2 arc, that's still fucking good. Depending on what you're using it for. Akama Hall. Oh, a liter and 6 from gas and a bus. Come here, you. Warren gives a 3-way metadata SAS. 3 SSDs about 160 terabytes of Z2 arrays. Yeah, I don't know what I'd do with that storage besides just fill it up with random crap. Be a complete waste though. I think on ZFS you can set to where only metadata is like on certain parts of the arc, right? Forget exactly what the verbiage of the setting is, but something like that. I want to top off the oil too, why not? There's so much customization you can do in ZFS. Yes, love it. Right, okay, yeah. See if there's anything else I can clean up. Not super shiny. Shiny-ish. Whatever, good enough. Top off the oil. I'm gonna put a little more gas in. Cool, we're good to go. Yum yum. And we passed 1,000 kilometers, chat. Oh my god. Look at that. 1,007 kilometers. Well, the next stop might be a good point to transition. Yeah, we're at 1/5 of the way to Mom's house. I'm pretty happy with. I've only been playing this for like a little over a week. So, probably inside of a month and a half, we can probably get there if we really push for it. Depending upon what other things I want to play and whatnot. Like, I still want to go back to Puzzle Lamb, do more of that. I still need to finish up my DSP playthrough, which we're pretty close on. And there's other games I want to start playing, like well, it's on the near list. I think is going to be getting around to Ori and the Blind Forest, and then Will o' the Wisps. I haven't played either of those games yet. They look pretty damn good. Those are high on my list, but we'll see. It is really pretty, and I do like side-scrolling like platforming games. Enjoy the lurk. I appreciate you for lurking in, Ari. Oh my god, so fast. Alright, more control. Cool. Almost. Oh, I don't know, almost. We're getting there though. There we go. Regain control. We're good. We're good. I climbed this hill. Yeah, so I see Nessa play it. What I guess pushed me to go and buy the games. I have them in my Steam library. They're even downloaded, I think. I think I actually have one of them on my Steam Deck too, just in case I want to play it. So I wasn't sure if I want to play it on stream or not for a while. Allegedly, some of it's like a little on the more difficult side, so we'll see how frustrating it is. Looks like I got 4 TB SSDs in the largest common size, so I'll have to get a few of those. Yeah. Like, Sanborn has like 8 TB now, don't they? But they're on the pricier end of things. Are you looking at NVMe SSDs or SATA SSDs, Debug? If it's for that network enclosure, I'm guessing NVMe. That's good stuff. That's set up, I think, 4 NVMe's on this board. Yeah. I mean, you'll get better bandwidth out of NVMe anyways, and they're more compact. Yep. Motherboards just by de facto have M.2 slots now for them. Just bananas. Okay. It is 1:45 almost for me, and I've been up since early morning. I'm a little wiped. We had a lot of fun on this. We got really far. We passed 1,000. We're 20% past on the way to Mom's house, but I need to get to bed soon. Probably get some food in me too. So I'm gonna go find something fun to raid. I promise you that. So hang out just for a minute. Find my button. Let me save too. Saving is very useful, you're not wrong. Let's see who's still online. Wrong window. I have too many browser windows open. I know a lot of people playing Diablo 4, but I'm not super in that tonight. I'm attending a thing, then I start a silent raid at 7 PM till 3 AM. Fucking hell. I'll raid. Let's see. We've not raided in a while. I did reliever a week ago, so that's not like a bad option. Like, reliever's fucking fantastic. Sari's still going, so it'd be nice to stop by them again. We rated them literally Wednesday. I do have an old friend of mine from Discord who's streaming some Hitman 3, I think. But I don't want to overwhelm them with this big of a group. Very nice guy though. Fuck it, we'll do a reliever. Always a good option. I love y'all. Thank you all for hanging out. I super appreciate every single one of you. Have a restful weekend if you can. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Drink your water. Take your meds. Other healthy things. I don't know. Stretch. Maybe stretch. I don't know. Have a good night. Socials will pop up. Same with the raid message. I'll see you all again Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Good night and good luck. Take care of yourselves. Be well. See you next time. You got it, Debug.